It's nice to know that we have some fans. This email came in asking for a Freehub ball service demo, and I thought it might be a good opportunity to do a 101 and share some tips.
Right, let's do Freehub 101. Okay, pull the axle out of one of our have crack wheels. This is a Novatech design. What I've got here, when you pull your axle out, just make sure that you include it every tiny little bit, because that washer there, for example, is really super important, and lay them out in the bench in order as you take them off, right? That's just normal service technique. Okay, so right, axle spindle, this is a new one, so it's got no wear, but what you'll see once it has been used is you'll see wear on the spindle where the bearings are, and of course out here, right, when it's fully installed, the Freehub bearings will run all the way out here. Okay, so what we got here is, and most Freehubs are going to be, you know, within a couple of design styles. What we've got here is these three Freehubs represent the three Freehub types of the bike industry. This is a Shimano HG Hyperglide, anywhere from 8 to 11 speed, and it will also take SRAM 12 speed cassettes that are made to suit the 11 speed Shimano Freehub. This is a Shimano microspline. You can see it's a little shorter. It has a much deeper thread in it. The purpose of this one is to take the Shimano 12 speed cassette. You can see it's got one keyway, if you like. So this is a really clever design that Shimano do. It means that you can't put the cassette sprocket on the wrong way. You can't have it upside down. It will only go on the right way up. And while we're here, I should just show you that the HG has one keyway unit, so it has one fat gap and a skinny spline, and the rest of the splines are symmetrical, all the same size. So again, you can't get a sprocket onto this the wrong way. Right, the last of the standard bicycle designs is SRAM XD, which this one is. XD is it doesn't use a lock ring on the outside. It actually has a one-piece cassette design, and it screws down onto the Freehub at the base of the Freehub, not out here. So this these two here will both allow the use of a 10-tooth top gear. So this one here, this 11 speed, you can see the diameter, or you can't see the diameter is larger, but this one here can never take anything smaller than an 11 tooth, whereas these two will both take a 10-tooth top gear, whether that's 11, 12 or 13 speed, doesn't matter, they all take take a 10 tooth. Now, there is also another one, Campagnolo. I haven't shown it to you here. Campy came out with their first 13 speed on the Ekar sets. I've got one here, but it was going to be a nightmare trying to unpack it. So it's different entirely. It uses a completely different Freehub, and honestly, it's Campagnolo. You're going to see it in 1% of bike shops. So, and the other thing I should say is XD, which is this one. This is the mountain bike standard. It was the first one that SRAM invented. SRAM then came out with XDR, which is XD full road. And so a lot of their gravel stuff is XDR. It uses a shorter spline here and a slightly longer thread. It is possible to fit an XD cassette on an XDR hub body, but it's not possible to go the other way. You can't put an XDR cassette on an XD hub body. You need a space. But anyway, that's cassette 101. That's a different video. Okay, SRAM XD, different again, but you can see that all three of these, and this is going to be the feature of this episode, because this is what well, I can't remember what his name was, but this is what old mate asked for. So servicing Freehubs, this one uses a leaf spring design, so you can see the spring in here. If we just pop out the pawl, that's pawl, P-A-W-L. If we just pop out the pawl, we can see that the spring is of a leaf design, right? And it sits in that other recess there. So the way to install these is you sort of compress the spring a bit and just pop it in, and then the pawl, and make sure you get it with the right side facing out. You've got to compress the spring and then you drop the pawl into the slot, and there it is. All right, so this is a leaf spring type. I've got a few different hubs here that we're going to go through and have a look at, but so this is what Novatech use. It's quite a sturdy thing, it's quite weighty. This is their EMTB Freehub. They're super heavy duty, they last forever. These things are unreal. Okay, oh, you can see in the XD there's actually a pair of bearings here, right? In the XD Freehub it's got two outer bearings. It's got two bearings out here. Yeah, they're all, oh no, the HG only has one. Yeah, the HG's got one on the inside, one on the outside. I really like these 12-speed systems with two bearings on the outside, because this is where the load is. So if you think about it, the small sprocket is here under the the outer side of the Freehub, and this is where all the torque load is. Now there's a fair bit of torque load still in here when you're up in first gear, but especially for e-bikes, if they've been hacked and they're doing high road speeds, sort of 40 and 45, the chains are all the way out here, and so there's this enormous load on the outside of the Freehub. And so for these ones, it's really good that there's a pair of bearings out here on the outside. I really like that. Okay, so these are all the same. You can see they're the same fitment, right? And these are the hubs that we keep in stock, so that when you order your Have a Crack custom wheel, then you can order it with whichever Freehub you want, and I just fit the Freehubs before the wheel goes out. Okay, a couple of other Freehub styles. So I should say that servicing these things, it's super straightforward. Give it a clean, put a bit of grease in there. They never put enough in the factory. I always like to really grease these things up. Put a bit of grease on the inside of the hub as well, and I like this waterproof bearing juice from Juice Lubes. This stuff is awesome. So this type, leaf spring in, pawl in, put all four in, and then remember, if you have got, and there's often a washer, and the reason for the washer is that it separates the load, the load this way from the inner and outer bearing races here on the outside. So it makes sure that when the Freehub is installed in the wheel, and sometimes you just have to, you can see that the spacers come a little bit out there, and you just have to get the spacer in line. This washer here is critical, because what it does is ensure that bearing works correctly, right? So it isolates the compressive force of the axle assembled this way, and make sure that the outer bearing here isn't seated on the inside of the Freehub. You want this thing to be spinning freely on the axle. Okay, right, let's have a look at other bearing types. Freehub pawl systems. So there is the basic old school. This one here is a sealed unit, and you can see it's quite dirty, and that's because I got it out of the hub department, where I keep it for maybe one day, might be useful for something. I'd show you a new one. Mostly you see these in basic wheels, but it's hard to keep the new ones in stock. When you get them from Shimano, they end up selling really quickly on the website, and so I've had to show you a dirty one because I haven't got any clean ones. These ones, they actually, there's like a hollow bolt that holds that Freehub into the axle, into the hub assembly. There's a bolt that goes down through here and holds it in, and then the axle spindle, whatever you're using, goes through the center of that. Now this one, that's where actually the wheel bearings sit here on the outside of Freehub. Terrible design. But anyway, this here is a sealed unit. There is possibly ways to open these up, but I never do. The labour involved in trying to repair one of these is almost always 3 times the price of what a new, complete new Freehub assembly is. So that's the old school design, sealed unit, no repair on this one. It is what it is. Okay, what you'll find commonly, most common in mountain bikes and bicycles generally, is this design, and it uses a circular spring, and we'll find if we rotate it, we'll find this point here, there's a pin there, right? This spring, and I'll show you how it comes out. You lift it out of the groove, and then it will come out here, and you actually rotate it. Let me get it to the right angle, and then it rotates out of that groove. This one's not going to play the game because it's brand new, but anyway, you can see how it works, right? Come on, out you come. Oh, I don't want to damage him by forcing him out. So generally with these things, all you have to do is clean up this seat here, right? If you're servicing Freehub pulls in this design, clean up this seat, put some grease back in there, and then you sit the Freehub in place. Maybe we'll just do it so that you can see what I mean. So we get a little bit of, see how sticky this stuff is, it's great. I'll put the bearing grease right there where the Paul is going to sit. I'm going to get Paul, that's his name, and I pop him in there. I'm going to get the other Paul, twin brother, there it is there. And I get the last one. Now the design of these things, the shape of them, is that when you put this spring back in place, put it back in the groove, careful not to put too much tension on it, then when the spring tightens up, what it does is it pulls the design of the groove inside the pawl here, causes the pawl to flick out. So that there is what you're hearing, rat tat 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 tat, bzzz, right, is these things doing this. Right, pretty straightforward. I grease up the inside of the, well, I clean it first and then grease up the inside of the hub flange where this sits in, so I put some grease around it, and then the spindle will be in. That one goes down over the top of the spindle, and that's pretty straightforward. Now, a lot of them just have a straight, they'll have a small pin in this groove here, and they'll just have a spring that's shaped like a big C. It's a circle, and it doesn't actually need this folded in. I don't know what brand this is. I think it's a Sun Ringley. Yeah, you often see that. You see this design with the retained spring in Sun Ringley. Right, now other designs. This is actually a race face vault hub where it's the reverse. So the poles are actually in the Freehub. This are in the hub itself. The poles sit out here, Let me get this closer. If I had a hub here, I don't. The pawls actually sit in the hub, and this thing slides down over the top of them and click, click, click into it. So it's the same concept. It's just the reverse of the process, where the pawl is in the hub itself and not attached to the Freehub. Shit everywhere. Right. I think that's pretty much it. The other thing is Shimano, 12-speed Shimano microspline free hubs. This one, which is in genuine Shimano wheels, are non-serviceable. So this here is 8100 or 8110, which is XT. Maybe down in the MT500s and MT600s they might have a serviceable free hub, but certainly up here in the high end, in the XT wheels, it's a complete unit, it's sealed for life. You pretty much just take the old one out, throw it away, put this one in, slide him in, and all the instructions are in there about how to just lightly lubricate the outsides of these things. All right, there it is. That's modern free wheel 101. If you got any questions, put them in the comments. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I will answer them for you.